Hi, and welcome to Healthy You. I'm your guest host, Trina Williams. I'm here today with Aaron Motley of Beautiful Naked Pure and Natural Holistic Wellness. Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you for having me today.
So Aaron is going to be making some delicious dessert type foods for us today using the flavors of the season and the colors of the season. This is like one of my favorite times of the year with all the colors. I love their beautiful colors. Tell us what you have on tap for us today.
Okay, we're going to do a number of things. We're going to be working with foods for the season. It's the fall season. We like to use a lot of root vegetables, also what they call in the Caribbean ground provisions. Things like your pumpkins and your squashes and what have you. The reason why you want to do that is because they have mineral content that is nutrient dense that helps us make it through this season. Our body goes through a fall every day. From morning, noon to night, we're going through different seasons, you know, springtime in the morning, summer and fall in the afternoon and evening, and then winter at night. And following that pattern, we want to stay focused on making sure we're nourished and accordingly.
All right, so you're going to have for us today, you're going to be using
Sweet potato.
Okay.
Butternut squash.
And a butternut squash. And
sugar pumpkin.
Nice sugar pumpkin, nice rich orange flavorful colors, as well as some of these warming spices that are great for the season as the weather starts to turn to colder temperatures. These are wonderful to have in the kitchen and after a nice cool day coming in. But first you're going to start with coconut milk, yeah?
First we're going to start with coconut milk, and also we're going to make a sea moss, which is again a nutrient rich sea vegetable. Because we're focusing also on mineralizing the body in the winter season, fall and winter seasons. So the sea vegetables do that primarily because of the level of nutrients that they have. And the sea moss in particular feeds the entire endocrine system. So all of your glands are well nourished, so all your hormones are balanced.
All right, and to use to make the coconut milk, you're actually using a coconut. This is not your fresh green coconut, the young coconut, but this is the white coconut that you're going to be using.
Yes.
And do you prefer one over the other, or?
It depends on what you're doing. If you're going to be doing like a dry pastry, like a coconut cake, a coconut cookie, something like that, then I would use it dry. But I'm going to be actually using the pulp from this, so I'm going to be using it to make the crust for our sweet potato pie, and that can be dehydrated in the form of a cookie as well.
Okay, and tell us about some of the benefits of the coconut, because you can use so many parts of the coconut, the meat, the water, you use the meat to make the milk. Yes,
we are going to use the milk today, and this is a particular technique that I use when I open the coconut. First, you have three little eyes here, right? 2 eyes and a nose, actually. And you're going to open the nose. As you can hear, as you begin to dig in, the air being vacuumed into the coconut. So you want to dig that out and get at the water. Once we get at the water, I'm going to use my little cinnamon here as a cinnamon stick as a plunger. And then I'm going to just turn this upside down. As you can see, the coconut water comes out.
And usually when you use this coconut, this size coconut, how much water does it yield?
Oh, wow. It's amazing. 16 ounces or more.
Okay.
So you get a nice, good amount of coconut water. And coconut water actually has a lot of electrolytes, potassium, and what have you. So it's a very nutrient-dense liquid as well. And then as far as the milk that we're going to get from here, the milk has a lot of the oils, and coconut oil is very dynamic as far as the digestive system, and it also has ketones, which feeds the brain, gives us quick energy for muscle reflex and response and so on.
So very nourishing.
Yes.
And replenishing.
Yes.
So it's good to drink after a workout when you're talking about the water.
Most definitely.
Most definitely. It's also a great to add to cereals when once you make the milk.
Yes,
the milk is good.
I mean, you can add the water to cereal as well. My son, he likes to have the water with the cereal.
And I like to say fresh is best. So yes, you can go to the grocery store and you can buy the coconut milk that's on the shelf. It doesn't taste the same. The fresh coconut milk is always really rich and delicious. And speaking about it being rich, you can make this a little less rich or as rich as you like. Yes? How would you do that?
Diluting it with water. I like it as rich as possible. When I actually make the milk, I'm going to be using my high-speed blender. I'm going to add water to the meat and spin it and what have you, and we're going to see how that turns into milk. I got to kind of squeeze it through a nut meat bag. You're going to see that momentarily. So, wow. That's
so you just let all of your water drain out
Yes.
of the coconut,
Yes.
and then what happens next? Are we ready for that
Then
stage yet?
we get to crack the nut. So I have a very heavy blade here, so you can actually just use your blade, the back of your blade, and as you can see, it readily comes open. I've already kind of started this one already, but once you get started, then you just crack it open a little more.
And you can see, well, I don't want
Excuse
to put
me,
my hand
yeah.
there, but all of this nice, delicious meat that's in the coconut.
Yes, and as you can see, this is a kind of a rough process, but it really gives you quite a bit of meat. So I'm gonna.
So, and then you can also, once you peel away the meat from the coconut, you can eat this for a snack, right?
Yes, we
Okay.
actually, and I'm in this preparation, we're gonna be using dates as a sweetener, which is low on the glycemic index. Actually, you know a bit about that, don't you? The whole glycemic index. So,
Yeah, well, the glycemic index, it measures the glucose levels from our foods, and it's an index from 1 to 100. The lower the number, the better it is for you to have. So the dates are very low on the glycemic index. They're sweet, they're a preferred sweetener to, say, your refined sugar and even unrefined sugar. So it adds a little sweetness for you. And if you like raw dates, you can just eat them raw, or you can mix them with some coconut. I think Aaron has brought along some treats for later.
I actually called dates vegan candy because it's very delicious. It's very sweet, and then when you mix it with the coconut, they're both from palm trees, but they're different palm trees. The coconut comes from tropical palms, whereas the date comes from desert palms. Okay. And I liked, like I said, combining the two because it's a nice, delicious snack, as you said. I'm gonna go off camera real quick.
So just a little bit more about the glycemic index. What you want to do is have something that's low on the glycemic index so that when your body processes that and the sugar gets into your bloodstream, it doesn't spike your blood sugar levels. So you want to make sure that you're absorbing that sugar at a slower rate so you don't have that spike and that up and down in the blood sugar.
Yeah, these are some of my little candies. Again, I use the date and the coconut.
Okay, so what you've done, it looks like you've just split open the date.
Split open the date and drop in the coconut, and you got a nice candy. And children love this. And you don't have to worry about the spike of sugar that you get with the sugar rush and all that, because there's a lot of good quality fiber with this. And that fiber is going to actually nourish you and get rid of some of the waste in your system.
Okay.
So,
and then I guess it's also filling too, since you've got that. It's fiber rich, so it will be filling. So you don't have to eat too many of them.
No, you don't.
In order to have that full effect. So ready to move on for our milk?
Yes.
Okay.
Trash.
All right.
Thank you so much.
This here. Okay.
I'm gonna just.
So you chop the meat, the coconut meat up into small pieces. Does it matter if they go in big or large?
It doesn't make that much of a difference depending upon your blender, but I like to make it quick and easy, and I like using my knife.
So the blender doesn't have to work that hard. So just kind of chop them into small pieces, maybe about 1 inch or so.
Mm-hmm.
Going to add to the blender.
Yes, and I'm going to use the water from the coconut and a little more depending upon how much water we have, and also that's going to help determine the flavor. The coconut water is rather sweet, so when you're using the coconut water itself, then your coconut milk is going to be really sweet and even more delicious than if you use water.
Okay, so but using plain water, spring water, or filtered water, that's also an option if you don't use your coconut.
Yes.
But if using the coconut water, then you're actually using all of the coconut and you're not having any additional waste. correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
And we're gonna find out as we go through this process how phenomenal these foods are and how little waste we have, because as we create quote unquote byproducts, we're gonna actually use those byproducts, like as I said, the pulp that we're gonna get from making the milk. We're gonna use that to make our crust for our pie.
Okay, so that's a nice little nifty. Just use the lid, dump in your coconut.
Now, I'm gonna add our water.
Gosh, I almost want to snack on some of that
That's a lot of
coconut. It's
water.
so good.
Did you
So
believe
let's
this thing
fill
is-
up the whole carafe.
And there's still more.
Okay.
So this is at least 24 ounces of coconut water.
All right, and is there a fill level that you should look for? Should it cover your coconut?
Yeah, it should cover your coconut at least by an inch, and we got that pretty much right here.
Okay,
So actually have a little extra water.
And if you didn't have enough coconut water, then you could just mix in some plain water?
Yeah, I'm partial to spring water. I like my water fresh out of the ground.
Okay.
You know, I like everything as fresh and natural and as close to Mother Nature as possible. That way we get all of the nutrient-dense health benefits of what we're consuming.
Keep
And
those
plus,
compounds.
There's so
from
much
the
stuff
foods.
going on with water nowadays.
Okay, so here we go. Looks like we're ready for the big blend.
Yes, we are.
So what type of consistency are you looking for in your milk once when you get the perfect blend?
Well, depending upon how much fat you want in, you can have it slightly watery, or you can have it kind of thick. And right here, the pulp is kind of risen. And interesting point, when you let this get warm, the fat doesn't separate as much. But I wouldn't go so far as to cook, because in this process, we want to keep everything as close to raw as possible, maintaining all of the wonderful enzymes. So we're going to just pour this through here. And again, when you keep it nice and cool, you actually get to see some of the fat or coconut oil actually rise and separate.
Okay, so important thing to remember is not to blend your coconut meat and water too long, because you don't want it to be overheated. You want to keep as much of the nutrients in it as possible.
Yeah, not overheated, but if you want to actually have it stay together and not have the fat rise and separate, then you want to actually blend it until it gets pretty much very warm. I mean, very warm to the touch, not slightly, but very warm to the touch. Because that way the water and the milk content kind of merges.
And then I imagine also you can have a nice warm coconut milk.
Yeah, and we're going to use
Right out
this
of the
coconut
blender.
milk to make a nice seasonal pumpkin coconut nog.
So coconut milk is really versatile. I mentioned earlier, you can use it to make your cereal. You can use it to make a nog. You can just have straight coconut milk as a snack as well. And so again, it's also very filling.
And once we get all of the milk out, we're going to save the pulp, and we're going to use that pulp to make our pie crust. And with this fat, as you can see on my fingers, the fat is separating already, which is going to really be nice in our crust. We're not going to have to use oil at all, because coconut has quite a bit of oil.
Yeah, I could see all the oil there on your hand. So can I use that to moisturize my skin?
Oh yeah.
Just slather it on after I finish squeezing out that
That
milk?
actually sounds kind of nice.
Okay, so yet another use for the coconut meat.
Yeah, and you know, indigenous cultures, they've been using coconut for skin care, hair care, and all of this stuff for eons. And it's good to do because it nourishes the skin from the outside as well. Pardon me.
And I believe the same thing also with the sea moss. You can use that to nourish the skin on the outside. You can
Yes.
use it for your foods as well as
Oh, this is
on
pretty
the
full.
outside.
Now, speaking of sea moss, we're gonna rinse. Well, yeah. Let me
Okay, so
rinse this off, and we're gonna get to the sea moss.
I see your sea moss has been soaking over there in some water. That's coming up
Yes.
next. All right.
Take cut. Can I say that?
Cut. For years, scientists have explored remote corners of the Earth, searching for exotic substances that might help prevent cancer. At last, man has discovered a secret place where powerful remedies can actually be found. Medical research shows that a vegetarian diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains can help prevent many types of cancer. Wherever you live, cancer prevention is as close as your grocery store. To learn more, call 866-906-WELL.
Okay, so we have some delicious coconut milk that we can use, and now we're going to learn how to make some sea moss. This is our sea moss as it appears. So this is kind of dry and hard and stringy. Is this what I'm going to eat?
Well, we're going to hydrate it, and what we do with that, first we take 4 ounces, which is half of this bag. We put it in a colander, and we run under running water, and we just, rinse it and make sure that there's no oceanic debris and get out some of the excess salt. We're going to boil a quart of water. Then once we get that quart of water, we're going to combine that quart of water with the sea moss and let it sit for half an hour. From there, we go to our blender and we blend it up.
Okay, so you're getting the sea moss soft and prepared so it can go in the blender. All right, so.
The reason why we use boiling water is because it's so dense that if you just put water on it, you have to soak it overnight or a day or two in order for it to begin to soften to even be able to blend it. So I like to shortcut it. I just put boiled water on it, let it sit for half an hour, and then I throw it in the blender. I spin it, and then we're good.
All right, so are we going to blend that baby up, or we just we've got some finished here?
Yeah, we got finished product here. And what I like to do is I like to actually use ice cube trays. Once I blend it, and it actually just sits in the blender for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. It spins around, gets kind of clunky, and then it smooths out and gets real creamy. And you just pour that into an ice cube tray, and what you wind up with is
so creamy like pudding.
Yes.
And then you use your ice cube tray, makes it in nice individual chunks.
And the reason why I like these cubes, this is your USRDA requirement, 1-day requirement for sea moss. Of course, you can do 2 or 3. You're not going to overdose because, like I say, it's an abundance of trace minerals, so it's highly nutritious and it's beneficial to everything.
Okay, so you can eat that by itself, or you can add the sea moss to a nut milk if you're making that, or even to coconut milk if you wanted to. It thickens it up a little bit, and you can also add it to the pies that you're going to be making, or filling, or any sort of pudding. It's the original gelatin, right?
Yes, yes. As you can see, it's like jello. This is the original jello before they started using animal products, which, we don't want to harm any animals. So this is very eco-friendly eating. This is healthy not only for you, but healthy for the planet, which is, the theme of how we want to really live our life and minimize our footprint. All right. I'm going to go ahead and start the pie crust.
Okay.
And then we're going to go into the nog.
Okay, so get started with that. You're going to use some sea moss. Sea moss, also known as Irish moss.
Yes.
Aaron always likes to tell the story. During the potato famine, Irish were looking for something nourishing and healthy to eat. What's that next? The dates. Okay, so we've got a nice bowl of dates here.
Yeah,
we're going to use for some sweetener for the pie crust. So this is for our sweet potato pie.
I got 4 cubes. I'm putting in 6 dates. I'm going to put in
raw sweet potato pie
and a bit of our. I got a combination, of cinnamon, nutmeg, and vanilla. Okay. I'm going to use about a teaspoon of that.
All right. And this is just a plain cinnamon here?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we're going to add our sweet potato, which I need to cut a bit of that.
Okay. Take some. So this is going to be for sweet potato pie, and also, so you can take, at this time, you can also make your pumpkin nog.
Yeah, we're going to do the nog right after we do the crust. And, well, I guess I should just go ahead and do the filling as well, huh?
Yeah.
Because normally we would do the crust and then we would refrigerate it, let it sit in a pie crust container for about half an hour or so that it kind of solidifies. But it's pretty firm already with the ingredients that we're going to be using. So we're going to throw that in. That's about 3/4 cups of sweet potato. We got the 4 sea moss cubes, the 6 dates, and you're
going to use also the coconut pulp here.
We're going to add that in last. We're going to do the coconut milk because we need that. We need the liquid to really get the dates and the sweet potato kind of ground down.
So oftentimes you are people use almond or walnut for their pie crust, but we have some nut allergies, so instead we prefer to use the coconut. Yes, still from a tree nut, but not always.
Pardon the noise.
Okay, so we are in the middle of making our pie crust.
Yes.
We've got with some sweet potato, coconut milk and coconut pulp and sea moss. So a nice nutrient-dense pie crust.
So we've blended up the sea moss, the dates, and the spices, as well as adding our coconut milk. Now we're going to add our coconut meat and get this thing.
The pulp from the coconut meat.
The coconut. Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
got some pulp from the coconut meat. And all of these ingredients are available at the website, eternalfitnesstrainer.com.
Yes.
You can also reach Aaron at 240-848-5448 with any questions or information, additional information that you might need.
Yes. As you can see, this is kind of messy, but you know, it works pretty well.
Get in there and get your fingers in there, get your hands involved, and all that love that you've got going up there.
Yes.
So
once we get a nice consistency, we just put it in our dish and kind of pat it around until it gets nice and smooth and pretty.
Okay, so you add all of that to the dish. While you're adding that, and then the next up, we're going to have you do the filling for the sweet potato.
We
So
actually,
this is a popular time for sweet potato, but you can eat sweet potato
since
all
we
year
have
round.
a finished product, I'm going to
So here
dispense
is
with
what
this.
you can use these little ramekins, or you could also use a larger pie dish to make your pie. But after you've done your pie filling, or your pie crust rather, then you just add in the pie filling, the sweet potato pie. You would blend that up in the blender with your sweet potatoes and your spices and your dates, and then add the pie filling into your pie crust. Set it all in the refrigerator, let it sit for about 2 hours.
Yes.
And then if you like your pie warm instead of cold, just take it out, let it sit for about a half an hour, and
So-
ready to serve.
Yes, we would chop this up. We would put in 1.5 cups of sweet potato, 4 cubes again of the sea moss, 10 dates, and we would blend that up and we would get a nice creamy consistency, and we would add that to our filling, to our pie crust, and that would be our pie.
I
And
guess
we would
it's always-
refrigerate for half an hour or indefinitely and serve at will.
And it's always good, I guess, if you like it a little more sweet, use a little more date. And if you like a little more cinnamon nutmeg flavor, same thing. So kind of to taste, you can do those things. And
Now-
you don't even need salt with these, right?
No, because the sea moss is going to provide the salt. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our spice nog. And since these ingredients are the same, I know this looks kind of messy, but since the ingredients are the same, we're going to keep all of that. We're not going to throw any of that away. And we're going to go right into the nog. The nog,
So-
we're going to,
You would use your pumpkin.
yes.
your
Could you hand me
spice
that
nog.
bag with the pumpkin there?
Okay. got
Yes.
Sliced up pumpkin
I already
there.
have this pretty much
Okay,
prepped.
so you start out with your pumpkin here. You just would, now have you peeling the pumpkin,
Yes.
and then you're taking it, you put it into some slices again, chopping it up into smaller pieces so
Yes.
the blender doesn't have to work as hard,
So-
and then just add that to your blender.
We're going to use like a half a cup of pumpkin. It's about half a cup. And then we're going to use, could you hand me those spices, the darker one?
Okay,
Yes.
here we go. Again, this is your spice mix of nutmeg and cinnamon.
And we're going to use about 1.5 teaspoons of that. We're going to throw in our sea moss cubes. Now, with this, you can add, for however many cups you're going to make, you're going to add a cube. So we're going to do, let's say 6
A cube
cups.
per cup or a cube
A
per
cube
16 ounces?
per cup.
Okay.
Because nog, I don't think people really drink 16 ounces of nog, do they?
No, you drink a
so
cup.
you drink a cup, which is what, 6 to 8 ounces.
Unless-
And we're going to use the rest of our coconut milk.
Okay.
We're going to blend this up, and then we're going to go right to our nog. So put the lid on.
Okay, while that blends.
Oh, excuse me. I don't want to forget the dates.
Oh, little sweetness
Yes.
for your nog.
We're going to do, what, 2, 4, 6.
And again, with this, you can make it as thin or as
10
thick
dates.
as you like it. So if you like a thicker nog, you add less liquid, and if you like a thinner nog, then you'd add a little more liquid.
Yes. So we're going to spin this.
Okay, so after
And I
that's
actually,
spun,
yes, I actually like to spin it until it's nice and warm because we like our nog warm, right?
well, sometimes you drink it right out of the fridge. But we've got some nog that you made right here, and you also would strain that, right? So you would strain your nog.
It depends.
Aaron likes it with a little bit of the chunks in there.
Yeah,
but-
it depends on how long you spin it, because if you spin it adequately, especially to the point where it's nice and warm, it should yield a nice consistency. If you don't spin it as much, you might have a bit of chewiness, which, you know, I'm a guy, I like to chew on something from time to time, so there you go.
So you take this, you store it in the refrigerator, or you can drink it right out of the blender, nice and warm, and you can put it in your nice glasses.
Happy
Here's
you.
to you, a healthy you.
That's delicious, if I must say so myself.
For more information, please reach out to Aaron, aka Breathmaster A, at breathmastera@internalfitnesstrainer.com.
And even though we haven't said it before, we are Trina and Aaron, also known as Team Beautiful Naked.
Okay, thank you.